Hey there, Chadi Bazzi here, and welcome to another episode of the Top Listing Agent Show. Today we're going to begin by giving you guys an update on what we talked about in the last episode. We talked about how you're like literally 3 feet away from gold. And one of the gentlemen that I was mentioning in that episode is the gentleman that actually set an appointment on the 39th contact. And the update on that appointment is, yes, he took the listing and that was an expired listing. Now, what we're going to talk about today is, everything revolves around taking more listings and obviously doing more business. And I think that's exactly why you are probably watching this video on YouTube and or listening to it on the Top Listing Agent Show podcast. So what I wanted to talk about today is not necessarily how do I take more business or how do I take more listings, etc. What I want to talk about is how do you think you're doing? How do you think you're doing? Like if you and I got together in person, like I ran into you at a supermarket or somewhere and I said, hey Jack, hey Jackie, whatever your name is, how you doing? You're going to say, I'm doing wonderful, etc., etc. Then I'm going to turn the conversation into how is business? What's your response? What would your response be? I think for most people, they are going to say business is good. Okay. And in reality, is that really a true statement? I really want you to think about this. Is this really a true statement that business is good? Because if business is not good and you are constantly answering the question that business is good, then what are you really telling yourself? That business is good when in reality it's not good. So that is kind of hindering your psyche. That is putting you in a place of delusion. Now, I'm not saying, for you to be dishonest with people and say, business is, booming when it's not, or business is horrible when it's really good or anything like that. I just want you to take a very deep look at where you are in reality of where you're at year to date versus where you ought to be. So you can take the detour and make the required changes that you need to make right now before this year just passes you by like any other year. I'm recording this on May the 2nd, so we're already like 1/3 of the year has already flew by. It's going by quick. Not too long ago, we were having a conversation of like, hey, what do you want to do in 2023? Well, here's 2023. What have you done so far? What have you done so far? So I'm going to be asking you some questions that I want you to answer for yourself, by yourself, to get a clear idea of exactly where you're at versus where you need to be. So let's take a look at that. So we'll begin by saying, hey, what was your income goal this year? What was your income goal? Okay, so, you'd write down my income goal was, for example, $300,000 for the year. Okay, so now it's like, how much money have I earned year to date? Well, I've earned, $75,000. But where should I have been by now? You should have been at $100,000. So you're $25,000 off. If you keep tracking the way you're tracking right now, you will be $75,000 off by the end of the year, which will put you at about 35-40% below your goal. Now, what you need to do, so I'm going to talk to two groups of people here, the people who are not on track to reach their goal and the people who are on track to reach their goal. So first thing is to identify exactly if you are on track or you're not on track. Again, just to recap, what is the income goal? Where should I be at year to date? And how much have I earned? And then how much am I off track or ahead of track, etc. And I'll tell you right now, it really doesn't matter if you're on track, off track, or ahead of track. That really doesn't matter because we still got 2/3 of the year to go. And I say this because you could be in a place right now to where you are on track and then, you just kind of get complacent and, you just wait for things to happen and then you end up falling off track. Or maybe you're ahead of track and then again, you get complacent. You stop doing the things that got you the kind of business that you've gotten to be ahead of track. And then you end up the year being off track. Or you could be someone who could be off track right now, and then you do exactly what I'm going to tell you to do, and you're going to do things a little bit differently, and you end up reaching your goal, maybe even exceeding your goal by the end of the year. So number one is we're identifying is, are you on track or off track? Now, if you are on track or off track, it doesn't matter. We're going to combine them both in one. Okay. The first thing I want you to do is I want you to go back to your 2023 promise list. You're like, what is a promise list? Well, the promise list is the business plan that you created where you promised yourself that you were going to do everything inside of that business plan to get the kind of business that you are wanting. So the first thing that we got to take a look at is, are you doing the things that you set out to do in your business plan? I mean, it's yes or no. If the answer is yes, then you got to take a look at what's working. Can I make it work even better? What's not working? How can I improve it? Or what am I supposed to be doing that I'm not doing that if I did starting right now, I could still reach my goal? So number one, again, clarity on, am I on track to reach the goal? Number two, business plan audit. What parts of my business plan am I implementing? What part of my business plan am I avoiding, resisting? And then what I want you to do is work on overcoming the resistance. I mean, look, you put it in your plan because you knew that following this plan will get you to your destination. So if you're not following the plan, then you're not following the plan for one of a couple of reasons. Number one, there are items in your plan that you don't know how to implement. So we'll write down number one, don't know how. Okay. Or number two, you are afraid of rejection, afraid of something. I don't know, afraid of what? And number three, you're flat out lazy. So let's address all three. If you're lazy, it simply means you have no desire. You probably don't belong in this industry. You probably haven't tapped into your why and you do belong in this industry. Therefore, you need to work on tapping into your why, tapping into your purpose, having a vision that will pull you out of bed every single morning to do the work that needs to get done. Or if you are afraid, then it simply means you're afraid for, I'd say the most common reason we're afraid is because we don't know how. So what do you got to go back to? How? So for example, if it is in your business plan to, let's say, tighten up your database so you can get more repeat and referral business, you probably aren't doing the steps in there because you don't know how. Well, if you don't know how, then you need to ask yourself the question, where can I learn? Where can I learn? Who can I learn from? Who will teach me? Okay. Whether it's a colleague in the office, a colleague online that you're friends with, maybe someone inside of our top listing agent community on Facebook. By the way, if you're not already part of that, you definitely want to join that. Maybe it is your broker, your manager. Maybe it is, someone, the likes of me, a mentor, a coach that can help you. Whatever it is, you need the solution. Somebody else has got the solution. So we'll keep this conversation very short and basic and to the point. I want you to do a reality check. Okay. Am I on track to reach the goal? If not, then, business plan audit, find out what you put in your business plan, what you're doing, what's working, what's not working, so we could get it to work. And number three, whatever you identify you need help with implementing, reach out to someone within your community and or online community or coaching mentorship community, and let's get work on it. Final thought. It doesn't matter if you are off track, on track, or ahead of track. What matters more is you hitting the reset button right now and following through on that which you got to follow through on in order for you to reach the goal. I'll see you in the next episode next week. Take care. Bye bye.